So all the kind of worrying and fretting about what might happen really shouldn't be going on. We have the proof that consciousness has a plan. And we're all part of it. Then the next, this right here, we went in from art. 32,000 years ago, Neanderthal went extinct during that fifth night. They just couldn't keep pace. In fact, basically art is imagination. These guys didn't have any. Here was Christ's message, very upsetting, so upsetting that 415 years later, Rome fell. And it didn't fall because the swords went dull, or the spears drooped. It went down because consciousness changed. It's happening again. We're watching it happen again. Consciousness changing, right over the top of a government. So here in the ethics period, in the fifth day, what we should be seeing is the neighbors. We should be meeting our galactic neighbors in and about them. Plus all kinds of wonderful technologies. 1873 to 1893, by the way, which was the fourth day of this cycle, was when Nikola Tesla developed free energy. That's when he was doing all his work. Power squashed his researches. But here we are, full circle, back again. So during this period of time, by November of this year is the end of this fourth day, there will be, to consciousness, there will be an exposure of the fact of free energy. Talk about a change on power. We're going to see a big shift. And that's challenging enough in itself. We've got this descending time order here. Right now, things are changing every 360 days. There's a step in evolution. But here, every 20 days, there'll be the same amount of change or shift as there is in a year now. Now, this is presenting a real problem to the mind. Remember, we went along, we developed this mind over this 2 million year period to see the similarities and differences between things. It has a speed limit. 24 thoughts per second. That's as fast as your mind can process anything. 24 frames per second. That's how movies work. Special effects and all that are worked off of that. So as more and more information is piled in on this mind, it can process less and less of it. You understand? This causes stress on the whole system. It's part of our evolution. I mean, it was built right in. If you're not sure about something, your body starts to get tense and stressful, so you would leave that situation and go to some place that's more comfortable. It's very natural. Well, we aren't living so naturally. We've kind of got to where we started to adapt to stress and having big physical problems and mental lapses, and even now there's things like, well, there's the fight and flight syndrome, which is road rage and desk rage and spousal abuse and Columbine High School and terrorism is all the fight or flight syndrome. And then the mind has another plan too. If that doesn't happen or handle it, then the mind just goes unconscious or pretends not to see. And that is what we see a lot around us, don't we? People into all sorts of distractions to keep them unconscious of what's actually going on in their lives. So, the mind is having a problem. And as long as mankind is associated with his mind, or believing what his mind tells him, then he's going to have some problems. On the other hand, there's a whole other system that we came here with, that you're born with. It's called your intuition. It's pretty obvious that everybody's going to go out of their mind pretty soon, because things are just going to keep on accelerating And what you thought you were going to do 15 minutes ago, you can't do now because blah, blah, blah. The mind's just going to go, boom. Your intuition doesn't have any speed limit. It doesn't have any speed. Your intuition is your own connection to your inner knowing, your own personal knowing, which is part of all that can be known. It's sort of like this. We have, here's you, or your consciousness. Let's not even count your body right now. Let's just say, here's your consciousness, right here. Your consciousness is sort of like this. It's oriented. Your consciousness is always oriented by time and place. Time and place. As a matter of fact, it's happening right now. Some time ago, you heard about this talk. You decided to come to this time and place. And you made all the decisions and all the actions to make that happen. Congratulations and welcome. Here we are, in this moment of time and place. Now, this we call 3D. But 3D is an emanation from up here. We're going to call this fifth dimensional up here, 5D. This little star over here is all potential. It's everything that could possibly happen. Infinity, all that. And from that point, we can call it a point, is this flow. Like this. It's this flow of event. And what we do is we receive this fifth dimensional flow comes out, or the fifth dimensional potential comes out through the fourth dimension into the third. Got it? Like step down. It comes out of all what could happen through time. It comes into manifestation at this time and place. Have you ever noticed that your intuition is pretty much always right? Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Have you noticed it's more right than your mind? Remember your second grade teacher, third grade teachers told you when taking a test, always use your first answer? Because the second one's going to be wrong. That second answer came from your mind, people. The first answer came from your intuition. So your intuition is right a whole lot of the time. Why would that be? It's just possible that when you're in your intuition, when you are centered in this time and place, and you're in your intuition, doesn't it feel like you're on a track, or just like you're in the zone? In fact, there's a name for that. It's like athletes call it the zone. When you're in that zone, it just feels natural and like you just know the right thing to do. You're centered. When you're there, it's just possible that that's the staging for actually creating your future. Well, it would handily explain why your intuition was so right, wouldn't it? If you're creating your next moment, and we're going to look at how that might just be the fact. We see these in consecutive moments, but it's actually all a flow, or happening at the same time. This is creation's flow right here. Creation's flow. And what you do with your consciousness, or what can be done with your consciousness, is you can tune to this flow. Have you ever heard of the word entrainment? Entrainment is a scientific term for something that scientists can't really explain. It's how mechanical things, and certainly life organisms, go into syncopation together. You put two machines right next to each other, and they will start to operate similarly.